Well, I think your analysis was very straight line. History doesn't run in a straight line.
Kid, you cannot tell your neighbor he is stealing ducks when you are stealing funds.
As High Commissioner, I was wrong. As Charrandass Persaud, I reacted naturally how any person would have.
I did not come here for that kind of abuse. I did not come here for that kind of abuse. If you're going to go down that road, I'll walk off.
But it's all okay once they're talking. If they were talking, I could not have been here today.
You got ADHD.
I got nothing.
Calm down.
I think I've done enough in terms of taking our team out of trouble from losing.
Come on, Lou Taylor. You got script. I'm reading the script now, and the first person that comes to my mind to play a detective,
Yes,
but
the
an
Guyanese
erratic
Michael
detective is Michael Rodriguez.
Why an African slap an Indian? Why a man and slap a woman? Look, how you deal with that? You deal with that.
We must encourage platforms like this because it brings together different people and allows for discussions to take place in our country on a multiplicity of fundamental issues.
Gildarie, you apologizing for something you think I did is wrong. I don't want you to do that, and you should not have done that. Hi there, this is the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. We have one show left in September, and that means we would have completed 15 months of the Gildarie Freddie Kissoon show. We'd like to thank you for your patronage the past 15 months. When we look at the viewership of these programs, we have to be grateful to you. It's been 15 months, and we have learned a lot from those 15 months and the guests that have appeared on these programs and the call-in programs. We're not going to get in 1 hour of discussion with our guest because he has suddenly become a controversial person. But for me, speaking my own personal capacity, I can't speak for Leonard Gildarie. He is not here this evening. He will be here on Wednesday. Speaking for myself, Charrandass Persaud has been a personal friend the past 30 years, and outside of that, in my analytical mind, I see Charrandass as someone who has contributed to history. There's a bigger picture. If you did not have the no confidence vote, this government probably would still be in power because they would have rigged the election anyway in March. But rigging the election became more difficult because the no confidence vote literally weakened the government, sapped the energy out of them because those court cases took the wind out of their sail. It's in that context, I believe Charrandass Persaud has played a seminal role in current Guyanese history, and for that, I think we should be grateful to him. This is going to be a long introduction because I'm going to contextualize the controversy surrounding Charrandass Persaud. Now, Charan made some mistakes in India in which he said some unsavory things to a woman when he was High Commissioner in India. For that, he had to leave the High Commission job in India. There have been people with an anti-government agenda, not people that are principled, people with an anti-government agenda, particularly the Starbuck News, that went after Charan. I said this is going to be a long introduction, but please bear with me because I'm going to show you the hypocrisy that exists in this country. So 3 times the Star Book News referred in their editorial to Charan as the disgraced Charrandass Persaud. That very paper gave a full-page spread in an interview with Lincoln Lewis, the General Secretary of the TUC. At the time Star Book News gave that interview, did that interview with Lincoln Lewis, he was facing the court on assault of a woman. But there was no word from the Star Book News that he should resign from the Trade Union Council as General Secretary. The man is still General Secretary of the Trade Union Council. And so Miranda LaRose interviewed Lincoln Lewis and never mentioned anything. It was one of the most sycophantic interviews I've seen. And that journalist could only keep her job in Guyana. She asked Mr. Lewis, why is it that the government doesn't like civil society? How can civil society stand up and confront the government, etc.? But there was no word about Mr. Lewis was facing an assault case in the court. Mr. Lewis, during the election, had called upon President Granger to scrap the March 2020 election results. Now, the Catholic Bishop of Guyana has formed a civil society grouping with Mr. Lewis and was pictured in the Star Book next to Mr. Lewis at the launching of the civil society group. But the same Star Book News has been going after Charan and calling him a disgrace. That shows you the hypocrisy of this country. And I want to make it clear, with pellucid enormity. I think Charrandass has done an enormous positive duty to this country. And though he made a mistake in India, we should not hold it against him. Do you know Mr. Robert Corbyn had faced a very, very serious problem, but Mr. Corbyn subsequently became the leader of the PNC and the leader of the opposition. We crucify people when it's in our own interest. That's the kind of double standards we have in this country. And those who support history, those who support people who have made a contribution to history, we should stand by them. And I am standing by Charrandass Persaud. Our guest this evening is Charrandass, and as I told you before when he first came on this program, he has a forum on this program. There have been too much of double standards in this country. When men fall down for some reason or the other in relation to women, they are crucified. When some men do it, you don't hear anything. There's been nothing in the press. I don't know if Mr. Siram, the Region 4 chairman, is guilty or not. It's an alleged action on his part. The police said they would charge him. I don't know and don't want to comment on if Mr. Siram committed that act. But similar people have done that, and once they're close to the government, they are persecuted. And in the press, we see nothing about the Region 4 chairman, Mr. Siram from the PNC. And the police said they will charge him for domestic abuse. That's the kind of double standards we have in this country. It's not going to work with me, and I am going to speak out. Sorry for that long introduction, but sometimes there is an emotional moment on programs like these, and there will always be emotional moments when you deal with the politics of Guyana. So our guest this evening is Charrandass Persaud. Charan, welcome once more.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you very much. And let me say a hearty good evening to the viewers out there, both online and local. And let me take a 30 seconds of your time, please, to congratulate the Guyana Amazon Warriors, the team that went through, I should say, quite a trying time. But last night, they were victorious in securing the win in the entire CPL competition for the first time. I was hoping perhaps we would have gotten a holiday for that, but it didn't happen. So, but congrats to the Amazon Warriors. My friends out there, again, it's always a pleasure sitting beside this gentleman who, to me, is not just a friend. He treats me as one would treat a brother. And that, too, he justifies standing beside me. And I just told him, I said, he stood beside me like a rock. My incident in India, the one incident, if you look at, that's the tail end of the video, if you look at the full video, and I still admitted that, yes, I should not have sworn at the lady, like used the words I used at this woman who came into my house. But we went through that already. I will leave it at that. And I'm really sorry that I did embarrass the government and the people of Guyana in that particular incident. Other than that, what else? So, Freddie, again, thank you for having me on this program.
Now, the Starbucks news is that you again. I don't know what I can explain it as an academic. I have to explain it, and they'll answer it as to why the Starbucks is out to get you. And I think it has to do with your contribution to the loss of power by the APNU. As you know, the Starbucks founder, Mr. Gildarie, was very, very close to President Granger before he became president. In fact, Mr. Gildarie bought over a publication of David Granger called Guyana Review, and that paper that was a monthly magazine of current news and events, and it wasn't doing well. And the Starbucks News bought it over at an enormous price. So I think there is some anger by the Starbucks News at what you have done. Now, today the Starbucks News has it, flash it on the online edition. You're up before the Legal Practitioners Committee on a complaint by a client. I think people will need to know what is that about, because when you're in front of the Legal Practitioner Committee, if they find you guilty, is one of two things. They either, I don't know, you tell me, I don't know if they could fine you or suspend you, or they could take away your license. But the stain will always be there. So when I saw this thing, I called you, and there are people out there that want to know what the hell you did. Did you go into the High Court with a machine gun blazing? Did you throw one of your client in front of a moving donkey cart? What is this thing about you in front of the Legal Practitioners Committee? Before we started this program, you told me why, and I think you need to emphasize that on this program before people think you committed some horrible indiscretion.
Freddie, thank you for that. But let me say this about Starbucks News. And for those of you who read the newspaper, the comments that have been made about me, first of all, are groundless. And I said, it's just gutter journalism. You don't want to verify. You don't want to have, they never had an interview with me to ask me anything, yet they jump to all funny conclusions. Now, this publication of the action that was filed at the Legal Practitioners Committee. First of all, quickly, the Legal Practitioners Committee comprises of a bunch of lawyers, my colleagues. Lawyers at the same level with me, and some are senior to me and all of that, but lawyers who discipline, lawyers who do things that are not supposed to be done as a lawyer. And that is what it is in a nutshell. So the Legal Practitioners Committee, I have not received any invitation or letter to the effect, or summons, if you want to call it that, to attend. I found out later on that a statement was made, publication was made in the Chronicle, and so they're deeming that publication to be an effort to reach me, and so I should have at least seen it or read it if I'm reading it. I don't read newspaper, especially Starbucks News. I would not even use that to, in the presence, in the absence of toilet paper. But I did not see the notice. I still have not seen the notice, but I was told that it was sent. That matter that I am asked to appear on behalf, in front of the Legal Practitioners Committee happened since 2014. I represented a client in what was a land dispute. Two neighbors one of them moved his fence a few feet into the other's yard. I filed on behalf of the man who was losing a piece of land, as he was the petitioner. I was his lawyer. The matter was heard in the High Court, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with normal course. It was then adjourned, normal course. When you hear it's normal course, it takes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. The time is uncertain when the matter will be called again for trial and presentation of evidence and all these things. Normal course was from 2014. It was called in 2019. The fly sheet shows that notices were sent to everybody. My friends out there, on the 21st of December 2018, no confidence was voted on. I left the country the next morning, which was on the 22nd of December 2018. I did not return until October of 2020. So I was out of the country. As his lawyer at that time, notices were sent. The fly sheet shows that notices were sent to everybody. Had he appeared in court to look after his matter with or without a lawyer, the judge would have granted him an adjournment until such time that he could come back with a lawyer to deal with his matter. He did not attend, and because I wasn't there, the matter was dismissed. He was the petitioner. I filed on his behalf. He didn't show up. The matter was dismissed because neither this man nor his lawyer was there. And so the matter was dismissed. And that is all that happened. Now he's taking me, or he filed an action in front of the Legal Practitioners Committee to discipline me. That is what this is about. But publication hungry Stabrook News made that an issue, a big thing. Big Charrandass is wanted by the Legal Practitioners Committee. For what? It's a summons that is presented to the Legal Practitioners Committee. Evidence will then be taken. It is not criminal. I have done no legal wrong in my entire practice of law. If anybody can come up with anything that to show that I did anything illegal, never will you ever find that. And this is just a simple thing where I did not attend court when the matter was called in the High Court and it was dismissed because the client himself did not attend. So, Freddie, that is what that is about. And it's really not going to go anywhere anyways.
Charan, I will have to come. I don't know if the public is invited. Do you know Vincent Alexander lost a libel case because his lawyer, Rogsdale Ford, did not, in the court, he lost it in the High Court and he filed an appeal. Mm-hmm. And Rogsdale Ford did not, what do you lawyers say, prepare the Court of Appeal. Right. Lawyers not appearing for clients. Anybody who study this society as a sociologist, an economist, any journalist will tell you it is wrong, it is unethical, but it's a common practice.
It is.
Now, some lawyers cannot make it because they out of the country, they may have pressing family matters, they may be sick or what have you. But your client is taking you to the Legal Practitioners Commission, Legal Practitioners Committee, when for a neglect of duty that he himself neglected.
He neglected.
I have appeared in court without my lawyer, and I would say, I heard from him this morning. He said he'll be there. Something may have happened. I will make inquiry, and the judge would say, adjourn for 2 days. Mm-hmm. So if he had appeared in court,
right,
what the judge would have said, we'll give you time to find
another lawyer. Yes.
So he should appear in front of the court of morality for not being there in his own thing. But I think you should go in front of the Legal Practitioner Committee and explain the banality, the mediocrity, the inconsequentiality of what you're being accused of when it's so common?
Well, Freddie, I don't know, but like I said, it's publication hungry Stabrook News.
But maybe they should ask you
that
for it.
went public with that. That's a matter that was filed. Maybe they know somebody in the court or the legal practitioners committee. It's not a private thing, but they use that to make news, because nobody wants to buy Stabrook News. It's not a newspaper you want to read for any reason.
You have to pay to read it online. The only of the four dailies.
That you have to pay to
Kaichou
read
News
it
came
online.
long after Stabrook News. Guyana Times came long after, and you go on the net anytime and you punch, and there you're reading the whole newspaper.
Yes.
You go to Stabrook, cow jump over the magistrate fence, and you start to read it, and it says, "Please log in."
Oh, you can't read it
Well,
free yet.
good.
So,
No.
Freddie, that's what's going on there. And then you know what? The Legal Practitioners Committee, the notice was sent to an address at 5 Water Street, New Amsterdam. I left that office long before 2015. And then I went to another location. So they send that notice. That's the address that I know they've forwarded the notice to. So that's not going to go anywhere.
So wait.
But I found it because of the newspaper article. I went through and I picked up the notice. But I'll attend it. You know what? I will attend.
Well, I'd
My
like to
friends-
hear when you attend it. Please let me know.
I will tell
So
you that,
you
Fred,
go,
yes.
you say, and I think when you are going, please carry a clip
Of the-
of what Peter Ramsarup said on this program. Peter Ramsarup sit in the same chair you were in and said, when he was escorting you out of Parliament and he was driving you to Ogle Airport, he had fear for his life.
I was terrified.
So you
too.
left after the no confidence vote out of consideration for your safety, and you should tell the legal practitioner committee that.
Well, I will, because it's clear Jennifer Wade, a member of parliament on the government side, threatened me publicly. The world heard that threat. Charrandass, you're going dead tonight. That came from Jennifer Wade, who was a parliamentarian at PNC backbencher.
But I think you should take a lawyer to present your case. You may want to go in front of the legal practitioner, but I would like to know what the legal practitioners will say. Mr. Charrandass, the man case came up on the 19th. You were not here. Your license is suspended? I don't think. You see, the thing about these people, they don't know how the population feel about so many issues. When you read the Stabrook News, when you read these people who write letters and they 46 signatures under it, these people feel they speak for the population.
Yeah.
They don't.
Especially I think their editor there or sub-editor he's Anand Persaud is one of the
He's the
person.
editor-in-chief, yeah.
He's the editor-in-chief.
He's
I would love to
co-owner.
have an interview with him someday. I could, if he's watching your program, Freddie, tell him he can make some arrangement to have an interview with me and ask me any question he wants.
Well, we thought that on this program, since we had ministers, opposition leaders, we should have journalists, and we invited him. And the man was rude, say, I can go on that program with the PPP. He's a PPP lapdog. But could you imagine anywhere in the world, the editor of a leading newspaper calls one of the country's leading columnists and a well-known academic a government lapdog?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did that?
Yeah. Call me a PPP lapdog. Now, when the editor of a paper could call someone a PPP lapdog, how do you think the ruling party, which is the PPP, feel? It's clear in their mind that this guy is against this government.
Of course.
A newspaper's supposed to be independent.
And
but anyway, I wonder if our operators, I want to speak to our operators now, and I want you to listen to this clip from a previous program. Listen to what has been said about you by someone with a very fine analytical mind, your former colleague in the leadership of the AFC. Listen to this clip.
I think the AFC suffered because of that. Probably someday somebody should write a book entitled the making of Charrandass. And I could talk about that at probably some other time, or unless you have room for that now. The making of Charrandass.
We got 16 minutes more. 17.
Right, so we don't have time to discuss that, but
the making of Charrandass.
Yes.
You're gonna write it?
Essentially, let me just put a quick synopsis on that. Now, when you listen to Charrandass, he had a couple of things that he said in his different speeches that he made in different places. And one of the complaints he had, and Odwin here was a member of parliament.
Yeah, I'm coming.
And he mentioned the same thing to me. Right at the time I was in China, I called from China to see how things are doing, and they all had the same complaint. They say, Leno, these people don't consult us. They don't talk to us. We just got to turn up the parliament, and whatever we see there, we vote on it. Now, the PPP could be successful in doing that because they are one party. The PNC could be successful in doing that because they're one party and people follow comrade leader. But when you have a second party subsumed in another party and people feel they should have an independence, and you behave as though you are a monolith, then people are going to develop the Charrandass mentality, right? And so when I talk about the making of Charrandass, I'm not talking about Charrandass himself. I am just talking about the concept.
Symbolized?
Right. What exactly?
Right. That is Bernard Craig, former executive of the AFC and deputy general secretary of the AFC, saying that you had somebody should write the story of Charrandass. Why don't you sit down and write the Charrandass story? How you come to vote in this no confidence motion? Your very good personal friend, Ryan Crawford, said when the sugar estates were closed, you and him would be on your front gate playing domino, and people would pass and cuss you up. You are closing the and you didn't know. No, I don't know if you know because you were not in the country. Naim Chan, who has an early morning program on CN Sharma Channel 6, he's a cricket broadcaster. He recently broadcasted in the CPL a couple of days ago. He asked Ramjatan, look, people were Charrandass didn't know what was going on in Barbies, and he was a Barbies MP. You know what Kemach Ramjatan told Naimchan? The chief whip of the PNC, Amna Ali, was assigned, the chief whip of the PNC was assigned to inform the Barbies MP for the AFC what was going on. Charan, I think you have some time. Why don't you write and present your book to the Guyanese people of what made you do these things? Leonard Craig said you have to understand this man's mind of what was going on.
Well, you see, let me say this to Odwin Rutherford. It has nothing to do with Black Indian. It has to do with what was right and what was wrong at that time. We were not consulted. We were not spoken to. We were not even asked for our opinion on anything. Rutherford, Bonnie Rajkumar, and Michael Carrington and myself, the four of us were the AFC backbenchers. Non-ministerial portfolio, we had none. So we were there, and we were not consulted. And even when we spoke to Nagamutu, asking him to let us have a discussion on whether or not we're going to support this or support that in Parliament. Just vote. Y'all just got to vote with us. That's all we got from that fool. Because he didn't care. He just wanted his anger against Bharat Jagdeo, because according to him, he should have been the presidential candidate and subsequent president of the PPP through the words of the late Cherry Jagdeo, he said Cherry wanted him to be that. And so he was so angry that Bara Jagdeo got that nomination or the nod in his direction. But we had no say, none at all. We were not consulted for anything. And you were just sitting in Parliament, you go there, you come out, and you get back to your home. That was it. So it bothered me. And when I was shocked, I was surprised. What people don't know, the closure of the estate was not a parliamentary decision. It was a cabinet decision. And we as backbenchers and the junior ministers were not members of cabinet. We weren't allowed to go to cabinet meetings. So when they took the decision at cabinet to close the sugar estate, even we, the four of us on the AFC side, did not know. It came as a shock to us that we're closing the estate. And that was because of Nagamutu and Ramjatan, the way they kept things away from us. They did what they wanted to do. They were consumed. They were literally sucked into the PNC. And they had no voice at all, at all. That's why Nagamutu was referred to as the rubber stamp. I mean...
Sharon, one of the things I love about this program, because I was trained initially in history, is how we manage to bring out dimensions of the past that has now become part of Guyana's historiography. Let me tell you something that happened last week Friday. We feel whether they got cricket or not, we have a duty to provide people with this forum here. When we were coming across the road to the studio, Virginia Besessa, who's your colleague and friend, and told me something. And I never knew this. And Chairman, I was numb when he said this to me. Yeah. He said that when he worked with the previous government before 2015, the PPP government, he had owed some money. The government had owed him some money, $2.4 million or 2.2. That was what you call severance pay or what have you. And the man said, this is a man who negotiated the Commonsburg Accord with the PNC, who sat in the executive of the AFC. I want listeners to hear what Besessa said. Besessa said he went to the leadership of AFC and said, now that we're in government, the state is continuous. There isn't a PNC or PPP state or AFC state. The state of Guyana has an obligation. So I am due 2.2 million. And they told him, they dismissed him, rejected it. And shortly after, Ramjatan, now if he's listening to this, he can sue. Let him go ahead and sue. I will get lawyers to defend me. Ramjatan, like a parrot, like a kangaroo jumping in Parliament to support the retroactive increase of Hamilton Green's pension.
Yes, he did. And we were just told to
people told me the man was like a kangaroo jumping in court, urging AFC members to vote with.
Support, yeah.
And his own colleague, his own executive in the AFC was owed $2.2 million. And you know, I'm telling you something.
Did nothing.
If there should be a charge, the abuse of power, Ramjatan, Moses Nagamutu, and Rafael Chotman should be prosecuted. But anyway, that is what Besessa told me when we were walking to come in to the studio here. 2.2 million chicken feed.
Freddie, you mentioned abuse of power. Ramjatan is Minister of Home Affairs. He went to the casino and demanded their records. I was not charged with anything. They were simply saying that I took a bribe, and so they wanted to investigate me. You're investigating. They took all the computers from the casino. They went to Tamish Jagmohan because I spoke to the man about exporting gold, and I went to ask him some nice questions in relation to the business of gold. And another company on Rob Street. He had no authority to do that, but he took his squad inside there. They walked in like big boys, and they demanded the people's computer and everything. That you can't do just like that. That is bullyism. That is more than an abuse of power. Ramjatan, I'm telling you something. Anyways, I'm going to meet him someday, face to face.
Has he paid you the money you want from
Oh, no. You know, he lost. I filed a libel action against him. And I was awarded $7 million. He's appealed. He appealed that. I said, pay the $7 million and get out of the fight. Because now, if the Court of Appeal even ruled because of the political decision that have been taken there against me, then I will take it to the CCJ. And I will get a lot more money than $7 million, because you can't disagree with the ruling of that High Court judge because you have nothing to disagree with. His one witness, the only witness that Ramjatan called was Amna Ali. And Amna said at the end of everything that Charrandass, it's her view that Charrandass did not betray anything or did not take money for anything. He voted according to his conscience. And the judge couldn't rule differently, even though her husband was the Speaker for the National Assembly and he was thrown out of his job because there is no confidence too.
Let me ask you this, Charan. There's always, in class society like ours, these people who own the media, these people who think that they are the inheritors of the colonials who left, they say all kinds of things. And they think the government should listen to them. When you go out there, you see a different mind to what these people think Guyanese people should do. Let me give you an example. There was a whole set of people, the famous or the infamous two Portuguese sisters from the Veras, Danuta and Vanda Rasdek, the co-owner of the Starbuck News, Isabella de Caries, and a whole set of people wrote a letter on November the 17th, 2022, asking the government to come out of oil production right away because fossil fuel is harmful to the environment. Charan, if you go around this country and speak to the population of this country intensely and relentlessly and say, tell me what you want, all of those people would welcome the oil, our fossil fuel industry and the money that it's bringing in.
Of course.
These people think. So I am saying to you, you have, the people have a respect for you in this country. If you go on the PPP platform in 2025, Charrandass, and you go at those public meetings and speak, you will see the reaction. And maybe Starbucks should be there, and every time you're on the platform, they should go to see how people react to you. For the Starbucks News, you're a pariah, persona non grata. When people see you in Barbies, they're going to pet you with eggs, pet you with mango. Charan, cost the lady down in India, bam, pet you with gander egg. That's how they probably feel. Yes. You go to Bobby's and
Freddie, I don't know if Starbuck News or any one of those fools was there at the cricket game. I was there, and it took me about 20 minutes to move from the stairs to my seat. It's almost everybody in every row. Charan, no, not only that. Let's have a picture with you, man. You're the man. You're the man. We are celebrating this. We're having this, and all of that. You know, Starbuck News really does not impress me. And as a matter of fact, I think honestly,
wrong? Something happened. Wait. Something happened with you. I mean, they're out to get you.
Yeah, well,
you didn't hit anybody. You were not charged for hitting a woman. Lincoln Lewis was paid in Mahaika Court, and you should see how Miranda LaRose interviewed that man as if he was a national hero.
Starbuck News believes that I am pro-PNC, I'm PPP, sorry. I will tell you, I have not in my entire life, you fools, voted for the PPP. And in 2020, I could have or I may have voted for the PPP, but I was not even in the country on March 2nd to vote. So I never voted for the PPP. And you know what? I will tell you that I'm still not a PPP member. What was done to remove the AFC when I voted in Nocom, because they were fools, they were suckers, they were, in layman's terms, I can't use the word on TV here, but they were just yes men. And all I did, I was made a yes man being on the AFC on the APNU. And all I did was to say yes. Why are you angry with me? I was made a yes man, and so yes just came out like that.
Charan, you have to write the Charrandass story. But what are you doing with your time? I mean, you have people out there that would finance that book. Sit down and write the thing, man.
Freddie? Yeah, I might do that. I have a niece in New York who's a professor at the Lehman's College in the Bronx. And she said she will take 2 weeks of her vacation and give it to me. I just have to go to New York. So I might consider doing that. And Leno, thank you, my brother. Thank you. I might, not might, let me say this now, that I will put it together. And my story will be made, put in a book so that people can read and understand what happened and when it happened. Actually, why it happened. Stabrook News, I tell you.
Well, it's not only Stabrook News. The middle class, the mulatto Creole middle class, don't like you either, because you helped to bring down the middle class. You have to bring down David Granger, Rupert Rupnerine, Clive Thomas, Raphael Trotman, Elizabeth,
Bola Lawrence.
No, what's that lady's name? Hughes.
Oh, Kathy Hughes.
Kathy
Yeah.
You brought down a government that the Stabrook News was very close culturally too. you ever see how the Stabrook News treats the government? There's a letter today now. I'm looking at the camera and I'm saying to you folks who are looking at this program, you can't read the Stabrook News if you haven't paid online. Go to the Stabrook News today and see a letter that was published today that was just insulting to the president of Guyana. How this man like dance, he like DJ, he like go all over the place, and then the clothes he was wearing was unfit when he addressed the nation on Venezuela, and after he addressed the nation, he gone back to his bacon, salt fish. You could imagine a newspaper publish that in today's issue? That is poisonous. That is what we have to deal with.
Really?
That is what you are facing, because some man named Charrandass Persaud had the temerity to vote against David Granger, to vote against Cathy Hughes, to vote against Raphael Trotman. It's a class and race thing. And I've been writing about it, Charrandass. I've completed 13 parts analyzing the mulatto Creole class and their attitude to Indians, to Muslims and Hindu. I've completed part 12 and it will be published this week. You know, I do a daily column for the Chronicle. So you have to write that thing, Charan.
I will.
You have to write that and let people know how you felt. So what are you doing these days?
Freddie,
I know you were in cricket and no, tell us about that. So people will say, and you took photographs.
Oh man, plenty, like lots of photographs. I think honestly, for those of you who are close to the likes of Cathy Hughes and them who have things to say about me, sit down and think, why did this no confidence go the way it went? 33 is not bigger than 32. And then 2 judges in the Court of Appeal ruled that 34 is bigger than 33. The problem I had with that, as I mentioned on one of these programs, Freddie, is we only have 65 seats in Parliament. So 34 and 33 would be 67. How do you get 67 votes out of 65 people? But that is what they did. This argument was raised with a country that had nothing to do with Guyana. Totally different. And yet you had judges who ruled in favor of the opposition that filed an action that my vote was not valid and that the vote was not validly passed. You know, like, when you look at that, Freddie, where do you go? When you go in the highest ranking court in our country, the Court of Appeal, they make political decisions. How do you expect justice to prevail in a country like this, where there's so much lawlessness?
Well, I was wondering if we could just put on the screen some of those photographs you took at the final, CPL final. You have any on your smartphone?
Yeah, I have.
And people hug you up and I think I of course I looked at the final and I think I saw you. I
was there.
I think the camera flashed on you. I think I saw you. I don't know.
Look, me and cricket fans. That's one.
Where were you then?
And I'm here.
so we could show our viewers some of the.
Look, I'm here in this one. The whole picture is not showing, but I'm here.
So you, when it was recess, you were walking around and
Look,
people.
I'm here. See, that's one.
But we gotta show our viewers.
Look, these are
Anyway.
people again
Yeah,
that I've never seen before.
and they want to have photograph with you.
Taking photographs. A lot of photographs were taken. Oh, here we are now.
Anyway, it's a pity we could. Oh my goodness! Look, photographs with you at the CPL.
Yeah.
You probably were one of the stars of the in your own quiet way. You were probably one of the stars in the CPL. I think I saw a cricketer beckoning to you. I'm only joking. but Sharon, why we mention that, and people may think it's a joke, why we mention that, it shows the thinking of our people.
Yes.
The thinking of that is a billion miles away from these letters you see in the newspapers, these people talking on social media. When you listen to some people on social media, when you read the stat book of the Kaicho about apartheid in Guyana, etc., you don't see it in African Guyanese people. Nobody could tell me about being on the street. I'm in the supermarket, I'm on the seawall, I'm in the national park. And I don't see this divided society of which the two races are each other's throat. You read these letters in the press and you read these 10th-rate citizens held up in foreign countries. You ever see their comments on the letter section in the Starbucks News?
Freddie, you know what? That's far and few. Like cricket, like this cricket here. Those of you who were there, I wonder why Starbucks News did not write something like that. If our politicians could be like cricketers, we'd have a wonderful country. At the games, every game that was played, there was nothing to do with politics. Nobody was either black or Indian or whatever nationality you might think. We were all Guyanese rooting for the Guyana Amazon warriors. Wasn't that a beautiful thing? I don't see Starbucks News writing that type of description of the crowd.
But do you see what the Starbucks News did? President Ali hit the headlines around the world
about how he was
when he
dressed.
stood up to one of the most popular programs, television programs in the UK called Good Morning Britain. He just stood up as a third world leader and tell those television hosts, you benefited from centuries. Those palaces,
Yes.
Guyanese labor built it, and everybody. A lady called Alisa Trotz and all of them saying, well, he did well. And the Starbucks News the next day knocked him, chastised him. He didn't condemn the invasion. Oh my goodness. It's a good thing we have these programs here so we could present the alternative views. But Sharon, it's good to have you back again. When you first came, I said to you, you have a for me. What are you doing with your life? Are you practicing?
Freddie, right now, no. And I'll tell you why. I had an issue, and I honestly believe that if I'm in court now as regularly as I used to be or should be, I will be cited for contempt. Because one example, and this is a little law. I was in court in Amsterdam in front of a magistrate, and she was sitting there. The man was charged with being in possession of narcotics. The prosecutor presented the case that says his car was stopped and they found a big bag of stuff that were leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The police then charged the man. And I said, Madam, please grant my client bail. The charge is premature. What is premature about a charge like that? You cannot charge the man because he's in possession of leaves, seeds, and stems.
You have to carry it to the lab.
Check it, right. Take it, have it tested, and determine that it is an illegal substance. Then you charge the man for being in possession of an illegal substance. But what is proven in court is the fact that he actually had it, that it was in his possession. Not that it's an illegal substance. That had to be done before you even charge the man. I said the DPP, the charge is premature. The DPP erred. The magistrate said the prosecutor objected. And I'm showing you what is going on in our courts. That the police is an experienced police and he smelled the substance, he smelled like marijuana, and so they charged him. And the magistrate, Renita Singh, said that she will rely on the nose of the police and refuse to grant this man bail.
Wait, let's be careful. You were in court?
I was in court.
And you were the
I represented the man.
Renita Singh said that?
Yes, that's the magistrate. She said that. Okay. She said that.
But you're in Guyana. If she sue for libel, you're in Guyana.
I'm here. She can sue if she wants. The record will show that that's what she said. And she refused bail. Now, for me...
A woman who went through a university hallway and got a degree said in court to other lawyers sitting down there, I will go with what the police smell.
The police smell. And refuse bail. That man has been incarcerated unnecessarily, and that is also illegal. The DPP should not have charged him. You're a lawyer. Do you know the problems we have here, Chavan? And I'd like to. No lawyer that is worth his or her salt want to take magistrate work. So what you get is the bottom of the barrel. It is, yes.
What you get, I have seen some magistrate here. Let me tell you something. If I get a traffic charge, I'm taking my puppy to court and ask my puppy to defend me. And some of these, how do you see things in Guyana these days? You've been back since when?
January, December 30th, 2022. So I've been here for what 8-9 months now.
Okay, well,
I'm working, Freddie, on completing or building, I should say, a building that I've put together by way of a design, and I have to get loan to have that building put together. But I am
what
now.
What this building is about?
It's a 4-story building.
Shelter for animals?
No. It's a 4-story building, and I intend to have at least 8 apartments on the 4th.
Oh, you're trying to make a living.
I have to earn some money. So once it's done, I know I'll have it rented because Guyana has right now a shortage of over 3,000 rooms for people who are coming in. You can see them cramming into little buildings. Trinidadians in particular and other people from outside, like the Indians are taking Ogle Estate and paying a hefty price for that. So there's an acute shortage of rooms in this country. And for me, I don't want to go back to court because if I have to appear in the Court of Appeal and any one of those 2 judges sit inside there, I will have to first ask them if they're okay with the numbers that I may present, no matter what case it is. Are you okay, Judge? Are Your Honor, with the numbers I'll be presenting? Because I know you have a serious issue with numbers, and they'll cite me for contempt.
What do you mean by that?
Because they decided 33 was not bigger than 32. 2 of them.
Yeah.
2 of them ruled that. And they ruled that 33 is not bigger than 32. It's not a majority. You have to have an absolute majority. Check absolute majority on Google. It'll tell you 1 over anything is a majority. So,
and to think that that went up to the CCJ, in which a full complement of judges pronouncing that.
Yes.
We embarrass ourselves.
We did.
And we embarrass ourselves. And some fool, some idiot hiding under his mother's dress or her mother's dress wrote a letter that the editor allowed to be published that President Ali embarrassed Guyana in front of the world when he didn't invite the Trinidadian CPL team to breakfast. President Ali embarrassed Guyana.
Really?
Who these people speak for? If you go and ask the people of this country, did you like how President Ali treated his Guyana CPL team, Amazon Warriors? Do you think he was right to hold a breakfast for them? The letter said that he should have held the breakfast in his personal capacity and carry them to his personal residence. So a president, at the end of every baseball, football, and basketball tournament. The White House, in his capacity as president, the president invites the team to do. This man, as president, in his capacity as president, invited the Guyana CPL team.
Yes.
And he doesn't have, and when the editor saw that, the editor said, what asinity is this? And took out that. So President Ali cannot hold a dinner as President Ali
for a winning team. Yeah. You see, I thought that was for one.
It's a nasty letter in the Starbucks.
Human thing to do as president. This is the first time we've won this trophy. Let's celebrate.
No, that was before. That was the day before
the finals. Okay.
But he was encouraging his team.
Of course.
He was encouraging the national team. So he invited them in his capacity as president. The Starbucks News editor allowed a letter to be published and saying if he wanted to have them a breakfast, he should have carried them to his private residence. So you know where was Macron? Macron stood in the stand when you had the World Cup final, soccer final in Russia. Stood in the stand and was jumping when France won. In his capacity, he went there in his capacity as president of France.
Yes.
And our president cannot invite the national CPL team
to dinner breakfast.
Right, he has to do that as Irfan Ali, a private citizen. The kind of anti-government miasma that you see in this country that comes through the Kaicho News and the Starbucks News, Charan, unless the Guyanese people confront this, it's a threat to democracy.
It is, it is. And then they're not going to change. I don't know what they hope to gain when you're that one-sided. What are you doing as a newspaper? You expect to get support from just this group of people. You have the money. You're going to use up your money for nothing. If you have news that people will want to read, and I've spoken to several people in relation to Starbucks News in particular, they don't even want to see that newspaper. If you have news that people want to read, your paper will sell.
I don't think you were, I don't know where you were, but they did an editorial when you were appointed as High Commissioner to India. They did an appointment saying your appointment is unsuitable. At that time when you were appointed to India, you were a parliamentarian for 5 years and a practicing lawyer for more than 20 years.
Yes.
So a man who is a parliament, who served 5 years in parliament, who practiced law for 25 years, is unfit to be a high commissioner. Who Starbucks, you certainly has it out for you. Well, you were responsible
I might have
for
seen that, but I didn't pay attention. But you know what? It is all because I brought the government down.
Yeah, of course.
That's right.
And I think you have made your contribution to history. These little things happen, and I don't think it's a little thing. It was, of course, a big thing the way you spoke to the woman, but you apologize. You apologize, and that Corbyn was in a terrible situation under Hoyt. He was a minister, and there was some thing about Dr. Julie Hanneman's daughter, and
that went under the table very quickly.
So Lincoln Lewis is before the court. Why people move on? I think Robert Corbyn did very well as leader of the PNC to give his approval to the formation of APNU. And for that, I think Robert Corbyn should be admired. But anyway, let's move on. Because time is going. So how do you see things?
In Guyana?
Yeah.
Freddie, what is happening in Guyana now? And people, you must understand a few things. It is not because we're getting oil money that magically the country will be transformed into the Dubai or Qatar. It will take time. And if you can look around, one of the biggest problems we have right now is an acute shortage of laborers to do construction work in particular. And we have the oil, put that aside. Let's just look at what is happening. In my boyhood days, coming out of the street to go to high school, I had my shoe in my hand with my socks. I was wearing short pants, so I didn't have to fold the pants up because the street was full of mud. I'd come out of the road, wash your feet to the neighbor's yard in front, and they'd accommodate that. And then wipe it, and you put your shoes and your socks, and you're ready to go to school. Almost all the streets in all the villages are now concrete. You don't have to worry whether you can drive your car. Maybe some of them are a little narrow, but what you have, that is development. That is development. It does not put money in your pocket or additional money in your pocket, but it makes moving in and out of your home a lot easier. If you can't see that as a benefit to you, then something is wrong with what you're looking at. You're probably looking at Stabrook News. I will tell you also that if you look at what is going on at a bigger level now, Guyana has the Princess Ramada, the Pegasus, the Marriott, and the Sleep-In Hotel, and a couple other smaller hotels. But we should have a few of them. Little Rock, nice place, and Leisure Inn. And plus again, quarantine, a few hotels. But you have an acute shortage of rooms. Huge construction. Big hotels. There's a Marriott being built next to the airport now. A few of the Hilton and all the other name brand hotels are coming up. If that does not do anything to impress you as a nation, then you're still looking at the wrong picture. It will take time. Our economy is still very big. We depend heavily on oil, but it does not mean that other areas are being neglected. Other areas, like particularly agriculture and our gold and diamond area, you know.
Our operator signal, we overtime. Charan, thanks for being here. And if you ever decide to go on the platform with the ruling party in Barbados, I will come and share the platform with you. We've known each other for more than 30-something years.
We did that.
When you go on the platform, I will come and join the platform. I'm getting on in age, but if you join the platform in 2025, I will come on the platform with you.
Freddie,
thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Freddie. It was a pleasure. And good night, everyone.
Right.
And again, we have won this CPL title trophy.
Okay. Thanks for being with us. Gildarie, Leonard Gildarie, Guyana's enduring famous journalist, will be with us on Wednesday. Thanks for being with us. Our guest was the famous Charrandass Persaud, the enduring Charrandass Persaud. Leonard Gildarie and I will see you on Wednesday. As I normally say, catch you later, man.
Catch you later.